Hey, so there have been a ton of talk about Twitter and what is going to happen in Twitter, Elon buying Twitter. I'm going to make a more formal YouTube video about this, but this is just going to be my collected thoughts about like what's going on in the marketing world. For that reason, I'm putting it on Patreon so that everybody can kind of get informed, but it's going to be less organized than all the work I have to do for a normal video. So, um, Twitter getting bought by Elon basically means that Elon is taking the company private. I think everybody knows that. So I'm going to just like talk about what is going on in the agency world and like what I think the future of Twitter is, particularly for content creators, but also for businesses and people that are looking into Twitter as a social platform. In short, I'm not worried. I think it's totally fine. Um, I think that there's a ton of misunderstanding about like what Elon is actually trying to do. I'm not like so. This is coming from a person who's like not was not historically a fan of Tesla. If people remember until they really started turning around. Initially, I was really concerned. That's not the case with Twitter. What I'm seeing from Elon is like pretty positive. So I'm gonna kind of like go through some of the main points, and then I'm gonna put a lot of notes both in these show notes here, in the actual Patreon post, but also in the Tier 2 newsletter that you get, which has like a lot of like reading information. So you can get some like actual facts about like what's going on, because there's just like a lot of misinformation. I think the start of it really is here. This is kind of the main place where we should focus right now, which is like what Elon is actually saying and what he's going to do. So there's going to be two major changes to Twitter right now, and that's going to the first one is going to mostly address content creation and the verification system. Twitter's current Lords and Petted system for who doesn't have a blue check mark is bullshit. Blue for $8 a month. You get priority in replies, mentions in search, which is essential to defeat spam and scam, ability to post long video and audio, and half as many ads, and bypass paywalls for publishers willing to work with us. This will give us a Twitter a revenue stream to reward content creators. And there will also be a secondary tag below the name for someone who is a public figure, which is already the case for politicians. Okay, so a lot of people are saying, what the hell? I have to pay for Twitter. No way I'll do this. I'm going to leave the platform, blah, blah, blah. Every single person that says that is 100% going to pay $8 a month, including me. And $8 a month is a super reasonable price to pay for you getting put up in priority in search. Priority. The second part of this that a lot of people are missing, priority in replies, mentions, and search is insane. So that's worth $8 right there for content creators. You immediately put yourself above like 99% of the Twitter population just by paying $8 a month. That's a better offer for content creators than literally any other platform right now. There's no other platform that gives you that kind of ability to pay for an increase in search without buying ads. This is a super, super powerful platform. Everybody should pay $8 a month to have that verification. That's super obvious. It's also, if you're running a business on Twitter, which a ton of people are, like I've seen these guys, these guys that are posting these long Twitter threads, not me, but these people that are posting these long Twitter threads where they're like, 5 tips to becoming the best version of yourself. Step 1, sit down, close your eyes. These guys are the ones saying like, I'm going to leave Twitter. Like, bro, your entire monetization strategy is getting people to follow your Twitter account and subscribe to your newsletter. 100% these people will be buying this. This is a super easy thing. The thing to remember about Twitter is that there is no short form competitor, right? Like it's Yee's Parler, Rumble. These are jokes. These are things that are only followed by extremists. And people are going to say, well, what about Elon's content policy? Like, is he going to move towards like hateful conduct? And this was covered recently in Politico, where a top firm advises pausing Twitter ads after Musk takeover. IPG's media brands is major. It's one of basically there's 4 major agencies that run a bunch of ads, and there's like a lot of weenie agencies like us, and you got to look into like, okay, what are those guys doing? This is extremely normal. We did this as well. Our agency also told a bunch of people to pause ads on Twitter. This is not because, as this article suggests, that there's like hateful conduct or Elon Musk is like tweeting like false stories or whatever, which is true, but right, like he's tweeting kind of questionable stories. But the way this article frames this, analysts have seen a surge in hate speech, misinformation since he took over, 500% increase in racial slurs. This is a really important thing for you as an informed person to know, that this is sort of a psyop. Like what happened when Elon took over Twitter and Elon said this should be a free platform is that all of the people who were already on Twitter took that as permission to start posting the N-word and being racist. But we need to look at what actually happened. And to do that, you just have to follow the head of content's policy and policy here. Since Saturday, this guy right here, just let me identify him real quick. Head of safety and integrity at Twitter. Okay. Since Saturday, we've been focused on addressing the surge in hateful conduct. We've made measurable progress, removing more than 1,500 accounts and reducing impressions on this content to nearly zero. Here's the latest on our work, and I will link this thread, but you can look through the graphs and you can see that not only have they been able to ban these accounts, but impressively, they've been able to actually reduce their volume in search, which is a feature that very few platforms can compete with. And this was all done, by the way, under Elon's new leadership with his support, because he actually responded to this thread and said, "This is what we're working on doing." So do not be misled by people that are telling you that Twitter is going to be a more hateful platform. There is no evidence of that being the case. It seems to me that Elon wants to create a more open platform that allows for more discussion from both the right and the left. I hate getting political. I just want to put this disclaimer here, even for Patreon people. I'm a marketer. Left and right, I don't care, okay? Straight up and down, what fucking sells, what gets attention, that's my interest. So I'm not speaking from the right, I'm not speaking from the left. I really think like that too, so I don't have like some hidden agenda or whatever. Twitter has historically been a progressive left platform. The voices on the right get silenced there. And so Elon that is what Elon is referring to, is that he will probably bring more political opinions from the right over to Twitter. But I don't think the implications of that are necessarily more hate speech, because I think that those trust and safety guidelines are being enforced. And if you look at the people that Elon has been focusing on retaining in the company, the people that got out immediately were people that had a very different vision under Jack Dorsey of how Twitter should be. So for Jack Dorsey and Parag was the CEO of Twitter. Jack Dorsey was the founder. They didn't have a vision for an open town square platform. That's not to say that it was like a like an oppressed or like Orwellian like kind of platform. It wasn't, right? But certainly Twitter's policy allowed them to ban people that they felt were harmful to public discourse, but were not necessarily hateful. Okay, and so they made some pretty high profile bans along those lines. And what Elon is saying is that unless those people are promoting true hate or damage, as evaluated by an independent content board, I need to find that link, but that was posted by Elon. And in fact, let's see if I can find that. Elon Musk Twitter independent board. Independent content board. This is why. Here we go. Twitter to create new council before major content decisions. Musk on Thursday completed this, which is a group that focuses on content moderation. Independent oversight of content moderation has a vital role to play in building trust in platforms on ensuring it is treated fairly. So this is absolutely the best way to approach this situation and the most rational. You have an independent content board that's full of different kinds of experts from every side of the political sphere, and you evaluate if these are actually doing social damage and discourse. That is not what Twitter did. Twitter had a very Wild West system under Dorsey and under Parag. It was basically similar to how Twitch works, where you have a kind of an individualized trust and safety team, nameless shadows in the background that kind of make decisions on who lives and who dies. So I actually think that the hateful conduct thing gets better under Elon. And to be completely honest, I don't know what gets worse. The only real problem is the monetization of Twitter, like just the debt burden. And I'm going to link a thread. This is absolutely the best resource on this to understand kind of what's going on here. But the short of it is that Twitter has taken on a lot of debt with this acquisition and moving private. And that debt kind of like so Elon himself put it in like 16 billion. He himself now has like 20 billion, including the debt that he bought in the 9.3% acquisition before. Okay, so he now has nearly $20 billion in debt, $6 billion in cash, and $5 billion in revenue, which are already being slowed by the recession and ad spending. True. Interest burden will become a part of the lexicon in the hollowed halls of Twitter. The debt financing the deal is not like price and earnings debt, where the PE crowd often brings its own high yield debt to the party. This debt is hypothecated by Twitter, not guaranteed by Elon. Bankers will surely demand not only their interest, but their money back at a point. This is a short leash from a start. The new Twitter begins private life with a debt of 2.57 times revenue, not 2.7 times EBITDA, which to some, at a multiple of EBITDA, is on the high side. So what is he saying here? He's basically saying that Twitter has a lot of debt to get to go through, and New York Times had a similar articles, and there's a bunch of Twitter has a revenue problem. Elon thinks that he can fix it by charging $8 to verified accounts. I don't think he can fix it by charging $8 to verified accounts. I don't think that's enough of a revenue stream that will actually make up that kind of money. Now, that said, I do think through a combination of ads and a combination of subscriptions, there may be a way to put Twitter to a reasonable run rate. I think the play that Elon is going to do, though, is he's going to use Elon's a marketer at his heart, I think, and I think that what he's going to do is he's going to IPO as soon as possible again. And then he's going to create a ton of hype around that IPO. And then he's going to try to clear Twitter's debt out, hopefully, if that IPO hits above, 50 a share or 54 a share or whatever. And then he's going to kind of clear the debt that way through public. He's probably going to, so basically he's going to monetize you, the public, buying the shares to pay off that debt mainly. And then I think that the subscriptions and the ads are secondary to that goal. To try to run an ongoing platform. I also don't think, though, that Elon is particularly interested in running a highly profitable company. That's number one. And number two, I think that Elon has been in bad debt situations before. In fact, he's been in it a lot. And he got Tesla through a situation that absolutely nobody thought, including me, he could get through, to a highly profitable company that is extremely diversified in an unbelievably competitive market, which is cars. And Elon was able to basically beat all the odds there. Here at Twitter, you don't have that kind of competition. There's really no one that is going to own short form. And the reason for that is that historically people have just been too afraid to attack Twitter competitively. Very similar to how people are afraid to attack something like Discord or Slack, because these platforms are notoriously difficult to monetize. In Slack's case, you can do like a monthly type of thing where you can and Slack basically positioned itself correctly as a business app. But in Twitter's case, Twitter's effectively never been profitable, even under Dorsey, or barely profitable, and the ability to monetize it is just difficult. Like the price per ad is not competitive with video. So Twitter started trying to do video, but video doesn't work as seamlessly as it does on YouTube. And everything in advertising just comes back to this. You just can't beat Google, right? Like you just can't. Like there's nothing beats YouTube as an ad delivery system and a content delivery system. So Twitter is going to have a problem making people pay for ads. Still, I don't think the CPMs go up for Twitter under Elon for any reason. I don't think the ads cost more, and by extension, ads are more. I think that the opportunities for content creators to create content on Twitter do go up, which means that the advertisers might be more interested in advertising there. So maybe the fill rates are a little bit higher once this stuff kind of clears around the content misunderstandings. And to be clear, the agencies that are pausing the advertising on Twitter are doing so because we don't know what's happening. And whenever we don't know what's happening, we tell our brands, hey, chill out. You do the same thing on Twitch, do the same thing on YouTube. That's an extremely normal thing to do. That's a very different thing to do than like pulling ads, for example, where you say, okay, get off this platform, I'm out, which is what you see happening on Twitch right now, where agencies are actually saying, move your budget away from Twitch. The long term here does not look good. and that's a very different place to be, which is why like when I make videos or make content around Twitch, I'm much more worried about it because I see the brand activity and the advertiser activity on Twitch is not good. It's people pulling out because they feel like Twitch is a very bad platform. So Twitter, this is just a temporary pause. I mean, look, if Elon, if I'm wrong, which I know I'm not, but if I'm wrong and Elon, comes out and says, hey, like, we're gonna allow terrorists and do all kinds of crazy stuff, well then okay. Of course, advertisers will eventually pull, but he is just not that stupid. He's just not going to do that. There's just no way. All right. For content creators, Twitter basically universally becomes a better platform. It's not going to lose its user base because that user base has nowhere to go. So don't listen to the people that are on Twitter that are complaining, oh, Elon took over the platform. I hate Elon. Oh, Elon, I'm not going to pay the $8. I'm gone. I'm leaving this platform. Don't listen to any of those people. Every one of those people will stay. It's exactly the same as the story with Blizzard games. It's exactly the same with Twitch. If you don't have a strong competitor, then your behavior as a consumer doesn't change. We have so much data on this, and so we know that that's not going to happen. Twitter remains the space for conversations in short form and the fastest way to get news. And as long as it has that competitive advantage, that people will use it. There's no evidence of anybody leaving. So from a content creation standpoint, Elon has been very clear that he will be both providing paid opportunities to get in front of people, and from a marketing standpoint, that feature of Twitter Blue, you better. I may personally go harder on Twitter, and I believe that feature is going to be is slated to be out as soon as November 7th was the date that Elon gave internally. I am going to go super hard on Twitter and fast because the people that pick up that verification will be at the top of the algorithm, and you should be making tweets every day. That will build entire brands overnight. Very similar to how like TikTok Live at the beginning, Instagram Live, like every platform that releases something like this, there will be a period of time before people jump on where the number of people that jump on versus the users will be proportional, and the scale will be in the favor of content creators, as it is in like LinkedIn right now. So you should pay very close attention to this if you're a business or you stand to benefit from Twitter. Leaving right now would be a fool's errand. You would be absolutely stupid to do so. The platform has nowhere to go but up for content creators. It's unclear what the long is of Twitter. Like, under Elon's leadership, like how crazy does it get? But all evidence right now points to Twitter being a more positive platform. And while I have some concerns about the monetization, those concerns are, I don't think that debt is a problem for Elon. I think that he has enough friends. I think that he has enough support. I think he has enough public that he can always find the billions of dollars. And if you look at a lot of the money and debt within Twitter, a lot of that is going to overpaid employees. There was these articles that said Elon's going to cut 75% of the staff, and then he saw that wasn't popular, and then he pulled back. I'm totally in support of cutting 75% of the staff at Twitter, by the way. I don't see what a platform like this needs with 5,000 employees that are all paid $200K a year in San Francisco. It doesn't make any sense. And there's going to be a lot of people that are angry about that, but that's just like, that's the business reality. Most of these, so if you look at the CEOs of Microsoft, you look at Samar, you look at Google, you look at Microsoft, you look at Google, all of these people are saying, as the recession is now hitting and the cash is crunching a bit, Apple said it too, we are really overpaying a lot of lazy people. And that's absolutely the case at Twitter. It's the case at Twitch. There's a lot of people at those places that need to lose their jobs. They're getting paid like 150, 200K a year, 300K a year, and they are doing literally nothing. Like, they spend their day like in the corporate kitchen on the roof with a laptop pretending to work. It's pathetic, and like none of those people should have jobs. Um, I like the people that are saying they should are like equality of outcome people or opportunity, whichever one it is. The people that want everybody to be the same, everybody gets 100K a year. It's not like life doesn't work that way. And so I think that Elon making cuts at Twitter is not indicative of its it's long term or short term health at all. I think that's universally good. Pretty much everything I've seen is good, and the only thing that I see that is bad is like the public reaction to it. Okay, did I leave out anything? Let me check my notes. Make sure you guys are like totally informed on what's going on. What's this? Businesses paying for Twitter. Just looking through my links. Oh, this is the debt. Okay. I'm gonna provide some resources on this. Some of it will have my views. Oh, one more thing I do want to bring up. Here's an example of something that's like really interesting. So look at this. Seniors are getting the biggest increase in their Social Security checks in 10 years through President Biden's leadership. Readers added context they thought people would want to know, and then a rating system. This is neat. And then Elon responds, our goal is to make Twitter the most accurate source of information on Earth without regard to political affiliation. So there you have it. He kind of just outright said what I said in the beginning. And I think this is the major point, number one, number two, of kind of like what he wants to do. This is really great. And this could, and so I think there's an ML system being built on the back of this that will just get rated. And most people are reasonable and are going to probably rate correctly. We've actually seen that. So people might be like, that's not true. But like, actually, the evidence for this is the YouTube Content ID system. And so YouTube's Content ID system now actually works almost entirely off of your own manual check. When you upload a video to YouTube, you upload a video and you state, does this have harmful content? And there's a whole list of categories where you can select if somebody is offensive. And then Google runs ML against that and says, is that true? Through a huge process we don't need to and then occasionally somebody comes by manually and confirms if it's true or not. Now, the system relies on the other end of users reporting that video and saying this is not harmful, and then channels that rate incorrectly, they get less trusted. And so what ends up happening is that it's like, so for someone like me, I rate my videos. I never get manual reviews. I've never had a manual review on a video ever. And they're all checked immediately because I have a high accuracy rating on how I rate my videos. I say, these have this kind of controversy, or these have this kind of, don't have any controversy or whatever. And then nobody reports my videos because my videos don't have controversy. And then the few manual checks that have ever been done years ago were correct. I'm a great user. Okay, fine. The exact same system gets employed in this way at Twitter, where users rate, and then users on the back end report if it's not true. The user accounts that rate incorrectly become less trusted, and the people that rate correctly and provide good context become more trusted. And then society sort of works. Like, this is kind of a crazy thing because we generally view these platforms as these like crazy, hateful, like people getting beheaded, just crazy stuff, right? But that's the vocal minority of people are posting that, whereas the majority of people are lurking around and are good, and that's YouTube and Google realized that and said, okay, we can use this user base to click a button and verify if they want to see this kind of stuff or not. And what's going to end up happening is that Twitter actually probably becomes a much more accurate source of information, like exactly like he said, through this system. Because you might say, well, okay, this is about President Biden, so what if everybody on the right rates this badly? Well, that might work initially as the platform starts to develop intelligence, but as ML gets better, as people rate against it, and as those platforms, as those accounts become less trusted because those aren't the facts, then as time goes on over a period of 6 months to a year, the accuracy rating of those accounts goes to zero, and it stops mattering that they do that. And then the people that rate this stuff correctly and add good context get higher, and society just like works out. like very similar to like occasionally, if you look at like the effect of the extreme people on the left and right, right? Occasionally on the left, somebody glues their hand to a painting. Occasionally on the right, somebody goes on a killing spree or whatever. But it doesn't really happen that often in society. Like, society stays together and mostly works because of a system of like reporting and enforcement, very similar to like how it works digitally, right? Like the police in this case though are you, and so I don't worry a ton about context and fact checking on Twitter. I think it's going to get better with systems like this. So overall, I'm pretty positive on Twitter, especially as a content creator, and I'm historically negative on everything. So I think that there is going to be, for people that are watching, I think there's going to be a window of opportunity in the next 2 weeks, maybe 2 to 3 months, depends on how long it lasts, where the algorithm is going to be way out of whack for verified users. and if you pay that $8, I would pay it day one and start posting. And you could probably build a business from zero. So I think it's going to be exactly the same as TikTok Live. And then after people realize it, it's going to be a gold rush. And then it's kind of like whatever. But there will always be a benefit to paying. You'd be crazy not to spend that $8. Like, it's just, it's such an obvious... it's so obvious, especially because Elon thinks like a marketer, and for the first time, he has a platform that he can actually use for marketing. Whereas like all of his other ones, he would use Twitter for marketing for Tesla or for SpaceX, but now he owns Twitter. So Twitter itself will obviously start to be better for content creators. He understands that intimately. It's how he's built every business, has been through the public. It's how he monetized Twitter as well. Through the IPO when we all buy shares. Okay, so those are my thoughts on it right now. Any questions, let me know, and I'll put together a more organized YouTube video for this for my main channel. But this is like all my thoughts. Show notes will be in there too, and then I'll also put them in the newsletter for Tier 2 subscribers. Thanks, everybody. Bye.